informal coffee talk. Okay, so here I have my coffee, and it's super informal. I I am going to discuss, as if I was talking to someone who had just said that um, that these illegal immigrants should go home, back to their country, because this is America, and that this is a place where we speak English, where we are white, and I don't think that that's very good at all. So first thing I guess I'm going to mention is the first thing that pops in my head, I guess, is the whole Shenandoah video about how people there considered that man that was killed and like his family and like other Mexican Americans that were in the city as like immigrants or maybe illegal immigrants, because they looked different than them because they spoke Spanish. But they also had mentioned that that like their ancestors were like Polish and that or Irish, and they had come over from Europe to find a job, and then they were assimilated very quickly within like a couple generations into this this city because they were white. And so then I think to myself, okay, so why is it okay that we talk about like how it's offensive to say to like dress up as like a Native American for Halloween, or to put on blackface when like I guess these people are in America and they are technically Americans, but it's okay to dress up as like the Fighting Irish or as a German man or whatever, that like later hosen, I guess. And so I don't know what would I ask? Hold on. Okay, yeah. So why is it like that? Well, I think that it is primarily because of white dominant culture, white supremacy, and that over the course of time, people have put in their heads in America that you look a certain way and that you should look a certain way, and if you look this way, then you are at the top of the color hierarchy. So if you are white, regardless of where you came from, regardless if your parents fled from Nazi Germany and you're Nazis, it doesn't really matter. If you look white today, that's fine. And so we all know that. But I once saw this picture. I'm totally going off right on a tangent, but I once saw this picture of of the whole like Dakota Access Pipeline thing, where it was of a Native American. It was like a caricature or like a picture, but it was like of a Native American woman, and she was dressed like a normal, like in a t-shirt, right? And she was being maced in the eye by a person. And so it was a half and half split picture. So then on the other half was a girl who was white, and she was dressed up as like stereotype of like Native American garb, so like the whole like face paint and like the feathers and stuff, and she was like being like photographed as like for like a selfie or like on Instagram. And so then like that really hit me far, like that really made me think like, why do we discriminate against people for like black culture? And so like say we discriminated against them, we harass them in the streets, we say that like they aren't American, but yet we still take their clothing and we dress up as them for Halloween, we wear like cornrows that are something that like they strictly do to their hair, that is something that only their hair can really do. And so why do we do that? But instead of like becoming like one assimilated culture where we have like different types of cultures, like in dance and in music, that we have to separate ourselves. So like with the whole nerdy white thing, so then like we look at like black people as being like really cool, but then we don't give them jobs, or really we put them into socioeconomic bad, problem situations, and because of the color of their skin, because of these stereotypes. We also stereotype them as being really cool, so then white people will take that cool stereotype of them being BA and hardcore, but then if someone is violent or too, I don't know, too loud spoken or outspoken, then then that whole coolness, I guess, is turned off, and they become their bad stereotype instead of their good stereotype. And I wonder why that happens. And so I guess this whole video is technically just me about why these things happen, and I guess how we can change them. Or I guess when I started out the video and I said that people are illegal immigrants, and when people call them illegal immigrants, I once saw this video about a woman who was like, nobody is illegal. And then I looked that up, and Elie Wiesel, the Holocaust survivor, was talking about how nobody is illegal. And so in the course of the history of yesterday, the Syrian army closed in on East Aleppo and massacred a whole bunch of people. And why did we not take in more Syrian refugees? Why didn't we take in, more Cuban refugees, or more Bosnian refugees, and more Ugandan refugees, or Ethiopian refugees, when their countries are war-torn and they can't, they no matter where they go, they have a chance of being killed. And I don't understand why we have the space, half of the country is privately owned and the other half is owned by the federal government, in order to maintain our national parks and our beauty as Americans, because we're so unique from everybody else. But so why can't we invite people into our country, and and so what, that we bring in, maybe we bring in some terrorists, that is, the chances of that are very hard. And we didn't bring in Anne Frank's family when she was trying to escape Germany, and so if everyone deserves a chance, every human deserves a chance. Native Americans deserve a chance, up in Dakota Access, and in the pipeline. And why did we have to, what makes us so powerful? We give power, power is so, power is given to people, it's assumed, the power is only given to people. So much power is only given to people by as much power as people give them, and so why do we give, why do white people give them, or Thomas Jefferson, why does he get so much power that he gets to push a whole bunch of people out of their homes because he wants it for himself, because he wants it for this America? I don't understand why we look at people and think that they are not good enough to be like us, or that why they don't, aren't allowed to come into this country, when we complain about stupid stuff about how much creamer I'm gonna put into my coffee, or what are you gonna get for your Christmas present, when some people just want to survive for Christmas. And I really wish that I could change that, and I'm not really sure how to, but I want to look on to, I want to read more articles, and I want to volunteer more, donate money, because I have money to donate, my family has money to donate, and that's, that we can donate money if that's what, relief people need, and if that's what people want, if that's what's going to help the world, then I don't mind that. But then again, I think capitalism is one of the reasons why there are hierarchies, and why there's divisions of class and race, and which causes some people to live in, South Chicago, where, gang warfare is happening because of drugs, and because of the types of people that live there. And it's not because of them as, black people that live there, it's because of the culture that they grew up in. And if white people were the ones who were marginalized and discriminated against, and gerrymandered into this sort of environment, they would definitely be violent, and they would be stereotyped, as not being able to hold a job, and things like that. And so I just think it all comes down to kind of power, and why we give certain people power. Why are we giving Donald Trump power to you know, to say these horrible things about women, and to say, you know, like, and his daughter, it's not even his daughter, and like, why does she allow this man to say those things about her, and why do we, you know, like, why do we do these things? And I think that, like, people need to stand up against people on the subways who say horrible racist things, because nothing's, you know, like, there is a quote that says, I don't know why I'm relating this to, like, Nazis, but the best Nazis were, hold on, the best Nazis were the ones who were, no, the top 10 things the Nazis got right. No, so the best Nazis were the ones who sit back and allow, you know, their friends and family to be stripped from their houses, and, like, you know, without doing anything, without standing up and fighting. And so then, like, you know, when we dehumanize people, they can't really stand up against others, and they can't, and so that's the whole reason why white people are in a place of power, is because they have dehumanized, and they've beaten certain groups of people down for centuries. And I don't know, and it's hard for, you know, those certain groups of people to rise up against them when they've been culturized and culturated to believe that they are less than white people. And so, or any other certain groups of people, any person in power, not even white people, but yeah. And so, this 12 minutes went by very fast, and I feel like I could have done a better video, but I guess those are my ideas that I've come across. I don't know if those are any creative, or if they are any inspiring for you at all, but I know that this was an excellent class for me to think about these things, and for me to understand that that I'm part of the problem, and that, you know, in the course of the future that's going to happen soon, I will always stand up and fight for the people that I know are good, and that are my friends, and that my family, and that are, you know, might have their rights taken from them, and that like, no matter, I will never turn a blind eye, and I will always keep fighting for what I think is right. And no human is illegal, and I will try and fight for that terminology to be completely taken away. And yeah, so bye. Yeah, okay, great, cool.